The humiliation just won't stop for Donald Trump. You would think that after election night, he would tuck his tail between his legs and just sulk off quietly to maybe have a Big Mac and throw some ketchup. But no, Donald Trump said, I want to take this election loss head on. I want to embarrass myself more. And it is not just Donald Trump right now taking loss after loss after loss, embarrassment after humiliation, because he's broadened it. Now he is being humiliated by his wife. Yes, Melania has humiliated Donald Trump amidst all of this horrible news for him. And both of them have actually been humiliated. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Man, I am so excited to get into this video because it's just been such bad news for Donald Trump and now Melania lately. But before we get into why, of course, I want to recap a little bit of what has really been pissing Donald Trump off, his election loss.
Well, last night, Donald Trump went from being a lame duck to being a humiliated duck when voters from coast to coast turned out to vote against Donald Trump and his candidates and his policies in every place and in every way that they could. Donald Trump's explanation today for the Republican wipeout last night is that Donald Trump was not on the ballot. That's what he says. The conservative Wall Street Journal editorial board has written a reply to that under the headline, Trump really was on the ballot. The Journal editorial says Mr. Trump was on the ballot, not literally, but nonetheless, as the main motivating force behind a dominating Democratic turnout. Winning Democratic candidates for governor in New Jersey and Virginia linked their opponents to Mr. Trump, driving Democratic voters to the polls and erasing the GOP gains in 2024 among Hispanics, Black men, and independents. The result was a much bigger Democratic triumph than polls predicted. The tsunami was big enough that Democrats were able to pick up 13 seats in the Virginia House of Delegates. They'll have 64 seats out of 100, which could give Democrats the chance to redistrict next year to gain congressional seats. And in California, where not a single name was on the ballot, voters stood in long lines to deliver 63% support for Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom's proposal for congressional redistricting in California that could add 4 or 5 seats for the Democrats to the House of Representatives and win control of the House of Representatives for the Democrats in next year's election. Every one of those California votes for that proposition was a vote against Donald Trump, every one of them. The reason no previous president has ever considered pursuing any of the policies Donald Trump has pursued this year is that those policies are obviously politically suicidal. And now we have the proof of that. And Donald Trump's bright idea today, during his politically suicidal government shutdown, is to partially shut down the air traffic control system in this country with the Thanksgiving travel surge approaching. Every day, Donald Trump finds a new way to weaken himself and weaken his party politically while making life in this country worse for millions of Americans. And now he wants to make it much worse for the millions of Americans who hope to go home for Thanksgiving this year. With less than a year into his presidency this time, Donald Trump is now the lamest of lame ducks ever to occupy the presidency. And sinking with him is the lamest group of Republican members of the House and Senate that the country has ever seen. The election returns last night indicate that a year from now, Democrats will win back control of the House of Representatives, and Donald Trump's administration and his incompetent cabinet members will be subject to real investigations of their personal profiteering from government.
Are y'all good with me just like reliving Tuesday night again and again? I know it's only been 2 days, but like, let's have our mojo back for a minute. And let's really embrace the fact that Donald Trump is a big baby loser and that Republicans got shellacked across the country. It was a shellacking. Like, let's be real. These were blowout victories. And so you can let me know in the comments if you're like, all right, Jack, like we got to focus on 2026, and we are. but I kind of want to like live in this for a little bit because we did a lot of sulking and we did a lot of self-flagellation, and I think that we should have a little time to celebrate, especially as Donald Trump is furious. And of course, in his time of anger, he has now decided to go back to his pet projects, demolishing the White House. He's like putting gold now outside the Oval Office. I don't know if you saw this, but he has a little sign that says the Oval Office. It's ugly. But the other project that he's been working on, alongside Melania Trump, is no longer, I was going to say no longer going well. It was never going well. And that's at the Kennedy Center, where Melania is one of the chairs. And let's take a look at how things are going. Donald Trump's recent post about the Kennedy Center, Melania Trump's responsibility, read, "I just inspected the construction on the Kennedy Center. It is looking really good." He was talking about fabrics, new chairs, new seats, saying it's happening faster than anticipated. One of my trademarks, it's not 2 weeks away from being done. My people are doing a really great job. We are bringing this building back to life. It was dead as a doornail, but soon it will be beautiful. And if you remember, Republicans wanted to rename the Kennedy Center's Opera House after Melania Trump, thinking that that would be a really great way to bring in some business and get people excited. But what actually happened? Nobody hears the people sing. Ticket sales at the Kennedy Center plunged by nearly 50% after the Trump takeover. Tens of thousands of seats, those new lovely seats, have remained empty during theater, orchestra, and dance performances at this institution. So Donald and Melania's little pet project over at the Kennedy Center is a big old stinker. It's not seeing smashing success. And they're just like humiliated all the time. And I know that I certainly feel a little humiliated. I don't know if y'all saw these videos of hedges like outside and trees being torn out of the Kennedy Center. Donald Trump giving that ugly country club Mar-a-Lago, making the Rose Garden filled with concrete look that he seems to love. But I am humiliated by the damage that he's done. But we also just have to laugh at the fact that like everybody hates Donald Trump, and they make it very, very clear all the time. Like, all the time they make it very clear. And what's really funny to me is I think that Melania, I really do, like in my heart of hearts, believe that she thinks of herself as like kind of separate from this all. She's like, oh, I know people, they hate my husband. But is that a good, I don't know if that's a good one. They hate my husband, but they love me, and I'm still good. I don't know why Donald Trump attacks all these immigrants when his immigrant wife still can't speak English. But that's a different story. But I think Melania does think of herself as like a separate thing, where like people love my fashion and da-da-da. It's not the case. We despise you equally. You are just as much a part of this. People have been talking about Usha Vance so much lately, saying, God, I bet she just wishes she could get out of that relationship. I don't know. She seems pretty bought into it. I'm not going to have a lot of sympathy. You married J.D. Vance. First of all, J.D. Vance? Huh? Are you serious? You have endorsed this all. All of it you have endorsed. So I'm not going to pretend to feel sorry for you. I'm not going to actually feel sorry for you. And Melania, just another humiliation. Another humiliation on the old resume. Both for her and Trump. This is just sad. And the losses keep coming. And one of Donald Trump's other big projects, his idiotic tariffs, are about to take one as well. And Lawrence O'Donnell broke it all down right here.
And they had to sit there silently for all 2 hours and 40 minutes in which Donald Trump's lawyer never said the tariffs are not taxes. He didn't try to make that impossible point. It was simply an accepted fact of the case by all of the justices. Tariffs are taxes. 3 minutes after Neil Katyal's first sentence saying tariffs are taxes, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said, quote, the tariffs are a tax, end quote. That is how fully accepted that fact was during this argument. Chief Justice Roberts said, yes, sure, the tariffs are a tax, and that's a core power of Congress. Yes, sure. Not a single Supreme Court justice disagreed with the chief or Neil Katyal about that. Tariffs are taxes is the single shortest sentence that exposes the lie of the Trump tariffs, which Donald Trump has claimed are paid by foreign countries. Donald Trump's lawyer, the Solicitor General, didn't dare try to tell that lie to the Supreme Court today. Donald Trump's lawyer could not refute one word of Neil Katyal's exquisite opening 4 sentences. in his brilliant argument today.
Tariffs are taxes. They take dollars from Americans' pockets and deposit them in the U.S. Treasury. Our founders gave that taxing power to Congress alone. Yet here the president bypassed Congress and imposed one of the largest tax increases in our lifetimes.
Dollars from Americans' pockets. This is what Donald Trump has done. He has imposed one of the largest tax increases in our lifetimes by stealing a power that the founders explicitly gave to Congress alone. Not one word of that was disputed in any way before the Supreme Court today. Chief Justice Roberts made it very clear who pays the Trump tariffs in his first questions to Donald Trump's Solicitor General. Chief Justice Roberts said this about the Trump tariffs. Quote, "The vehicle is imposition of taxes on Americans, and that has always been the core power of Congress." The Supreme Court has spoken. Americans pay the Trump tariffs. Justice Sotomayor interrupted Donald Trump's Solicitor General early in his argument with a line a lawyer never wants to hear from a Supreme Court justice: "I just don't understand this argument."
Republicans have been pretending for literally the last year that Donald Trump was this invincible force, that everything had changed in American politics, that he was now popular, that people liked him, that this was different. It was never the case. It was never true. Donald Trump wasn't liked. Donald Trump wasn't shifting the culture. We saw Democrats win young men, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, double digits, Zohran Mamdani, 18 to 29, girl dudes, 40-point difference. Democrats have won people back. We never lost them. We had a bad election. We're going to keep it pushing. We're going to fix it. But they want to act like they're invincible. Donald Trump is losing every single lawsuit. Donald Trump is losing every single political battle. Donald Trump keeps losing. So let's not let these people think that, one, anyone likes them or they have friends. They don't. Or that they're invincible. They're not. They're beatable, and they're getting beaten. And we are going to continue to talk about that and fight them back on this show. If you want to support that, I hope you were in the shot today, buddy. We're still thinking of a name. Maybe Bones. I don't know. I know y'all want, like, I saw comments like, oh, get him a red hat. I don't even want to have to see a red hat. Do y'all really want me to have to see it? I know, like, that'd be a joke. But, like, do y'all really want me to have to see a red hat every day? Maybe. Someone emailed me about it. I appreciate the emails about him. We're still figuring it out. He's going to stay, though. He's going to get a hat for Christmas, certainly. But if you want to support the show, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll see you soon.